Hey, it's the Midnight Raven, and welcome to another It's Not All Doom and Gloom podcast episode. This is episode 19, and today we are looking at more mental health and mental well-being as we are now in November. As you were watching this, we are now in the preceding run-up to multiple weeks of Christmas, hearing Mariah Carey singing and hearing people talking about how much they hate the season and they can't wait for it to be summer again because it's so cold outside. So, this is episode 19 of the It's Not All Doom and Gloom, which, if you look outside, I'd beg to differ. I would say it is all doom and gloom. But we are going to do some more of the self-help topics we have been doing. Unfortunately, the year is getting away, and as I have been sick recently, I have had 3 weeks where I haven't done a podcast, so I am very sorry. I have been trying to do these weekly, but the flu beat me for the last 3 weeks. So, as we get into this, make sure you like and subscribe and give it a big thumbs up, and comment down below anything you wish to share with the group. This is an open space, share as little or as much as you want. So, question 46 out of 365. It's going to be a very big year next year because we're going to carry this on. Today's question, the first question today is, what are the things that make you feel alive and happy? So very good. There's the question. What makes you feel alive and happy? So I guess you could say waking up in the morning, realizing that you are here for another day and waking up kind of makes me feel alive and happy. Another day on this mortal coil before we shuttle off. Things that make me feel alive and happy. I guess my children, that's a bit cliche that your children make you feel alive and happy. I mean, you really have to live for your kids up until a certain point, and then once they're old enough and they go off into the world, you still live for them, but you kind of get to live for yourself for a bit because you do dedicate anywhere between 16 and maybe 30 years of your life to kids. Even when your kids move out, they are still part of your life, and then you have grandkids, so they're still in your life. Something that makes me feel alive and happy. Doing this, I guess, makes me feel happy. If you want to take the happy part, doing my YouTube channel, my hobby, doing the podcast makes me feel happy, if I'm honest, spending time with you guys, sharing experiences and that kind of thing. What else makes me feel alive? I don't know. Feeling alive and happy. I do try to feel that kind of every day, but it can be hard. As you well know, I suffer from mental health, and every day is a bit of a struggle, not gonna lie. But yeah, I would think things like my family, my hobbies, makes you feel alive and happy. If you want to broaden that term, I guess you go to your kids, your family, and obviously my YouTube channel kind of makes me feel happy too. So let me know down below what things make you feel alive and happy, and we will tick that off. Okay. Question number 2. How have you been feeling about yourself lately? Okay, so this is getting personal. So, how have you been feeling lately about yourself? So, if you didn't know and you're new to my podcast, I have counseling. Originally, I was having counseling maybe every 3 to 4 weeks. Then recently, because I've had so much on recently with my bad health, hospital appointments, my son collapsing, I ended up having weekly appointments. The next appointment I have is actually fortnightly. So we intensified my sessions for a couple of weeks where I was struggling, and now we've gone to fortnightly sessions. And the idea is to go from fortnightly to monthly, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, down the line to not needing counselling at all. But the sessions do help. It is good to talk to a third party. Obviously, when your mental health is quite bad, the one thing you don't want to be is judged. Now, depending on who you talk to, friends or family, relatives, partner, work colleagues, you do kind of feel judged. No matter how much you don't want to feel, you will feel judged. You will feel that you are a burden on people. You will feel that you're just taking people's time. And you will feel that you just don't necessarily fit, belong, or even feel comfortable in your own skin, which is quite a harrowing thought for people, to not know where they belong. So, how have I been feeling? I was struggling the last couple of weeks. Obviously, I had a scare come up. I've had to go to hospital for an internal examination. I've actually got to have another appointment, hopefully in the next coming weeks, to have another internal examination for a situation that I'm going through. And then my son, bless his heart, he collapsed and has been having dizzy spells, so I've been dealing with that. And things have just been getting away from me. So I've been feeling a little stressed, a little concerned, both for my son's well-being and for my own, because we both have medical stuff going on, and that can take quite a toll, because I obviously had the flu for 3 weeks, so I was really ill myself. Then I ended up having to go to hospital for myself. Then he collapsed, and we've had to go to the doctor once already, and we've got to go next week. I've got a hospital appointment before the end of the year, hopefully, so I've had to deal with that. So just all in like the space of 2.5 weeks, I had so much ill health, worry and stress. That's why my counselling became weekly sessions, just to intensify that help just momentarily. But I'm doing all right. I'm not doing great. I wouldn't say that I'm like on cloud nine, like over the rainbow, happy go lucky at the minute. I really am kind of stressed with obviously my son collapsing. We've got to go back to the doctor and find out what's wrong with him. I've got a hospital appointment coming up to find out what's wrong with me. So it's been a little intense, but I do have my counsellor, I do have my doctor, so I do have a support network around me. Does it make it any easier? Not necessarily. Some days are harder than others, but you can always take a breather, speak to somebody. There's always someone you can talk to. Okay, question number 3. Make sure you share your experiences or your well wishes or whatever you want to share in the chat. Question 3. What are 3 things that brought you joy this week? Okay, so we're thinking in the here and now, which we don't always think about. Most of the time, we're looking to the future, Christmas, next year, booking holidays for next year, or we're looking at the past, where we're looking at what just happened, the year that's been. Do we ever look in the here and now? Because we're always in this economy and this world looking at what's next, what's coming, what's going, what's happening 2, 3, 4 months ahead of time. So, things that brought me joy this week. Okay, so I guess the joy this week would have been Halloween. Halloween brought me joy. I did a live stream. We had a wonderful, good old chit chat. I met 3 or 4 new subscribers this week from various channels that have come to my channel, which was nice. Chakra was one of them. There was the East Coast, can't remember the full name, East Coast something, or Eastern Coast. He came to my channel. He actually performs in Yarmouth. And I've actually stayed at one of the hotels he performed at. Chakra does Mental Health Monday and has various podcasts and live streams. He came to my channel. So I've met them and I've spoken to them and I've talked behind the scenes to one of them and I've watched a live stream of one of them and a driving stream. So That was quite nice. Okay, something else that made me happy this week. Greg's is opening. How about that? Greg's is opening. Next Friday, we have a Greg's opening in Swaffham, and there has been so much debacle on this Greg's opening. You would not believe how stressful it has been for these people to get this Greg's open. They've been in the news. They've been fighting in the streets over this Greg's being built, and it's still being built. It's not stopped it being built, but the bakery is trying to stop it being built because it's an independent bakery and they don't want Greg's. And it was in the news and everything, but Greg's are coming on Friday, so I cannot wait for my Greg's sausage roll. Something else that made me feel joy. I bumped into my old workmate. I went to Dereham and I bumped into lots of customers from my old job at the works. I bumped into a couple of my old customers and they were so sweet and dear, and we hugged it out and they asked how I was and we had a little conversation. And I must have met 3 or 4 customers this week, and when I went to Dereham the previous week I met a couple of customers, and I miss my customers dearly. They were such friendly and warm customers and welcoming. I also bumped into Holly. I don't know if she watches my podcast, my old work colleague who now works in the Swaffham Works. I bumped into her not once but twice in the last couple of weeks, which is good. I do miss working with her. So yeah, that's kind of the joy this week. My channel, bumping into some old work colleagues, and the fact that Greg's is opening. So you cannot beat. I've lost my pen. You cannot beat the week I've had. So next question. What parts of you do you have a hard time accepting? Okay, so that was this one down here. What parts of you do you have a hard time accepting? What parts do I have a hard time accepting? Being perfect. Having a need to be perfect in what I do. Like when it comes to work, I work so hard when I have a job, and I'm such a perfectionist and I'm such a motivator and hardworking, and it's hard time sometimes for me to accept that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to push myself that hard. I don't have to be the sole person doing everything. And it does become overwhelming for myself, but I'm in such that mindset of everything has to be done now, on time, it has to be perfect, it's all on me. And that's a lot of pressure to put yourself under. I am also my own worst critic. I do constantly nitpick at everything I do, commenting on the fact that I could be better, I could do it quicker, I could have done it differently. And I'm constantly criticizing myself, whether it's my work, my looks, my channel. I'm always looking to be better because I know I can be better. But there is a limit to how better you can be, but I don't see that. I'm just like, well, I can be better and I can do this and I can do that. And I'm constantly berating myself, critiquing myself, pushing myself, just generally like, I need this, I need this, I need this. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Um, the what parts do you have a hard time accepting? Anything else? I think it's just how hard I push myself. I push myself quite a lot to be the best at my work. I push myself to be the best mother. I push myself to be the best partner. I push myself to be the best of everything because I do believe in me that I am the best at what I do, especially at work. No one can fault me for my work, my motivation, my timings, my problem solving. I am the shit when it comes to that. Parenting, hit or miss. No one's a perfect parent, although I'd like to think I come quite close. In a relationship, I would have said I was near enough perfect. As a partner, I doted. was just a wonderful partner to be with. I'm single, obviously, at the minute, so on the prowl. But yeah, I would say that I am my own worst critic. It's a hard part of accepting the fact that I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to do everything in a heartbeat. I don't have to be the best, but I kind of want to be. And the last question today: when was the last time you laughed the hardest? The last time I laughed the hardest was when a friend sent me a picture of his cat in a video getting its head stuck in a crisp bag and falling off the sofa. I hate to say it, but they'd been eating some crisps and the bag was left on the couch, and this cat obviously put his head in it thinking he could get something. He ended up with the crisp bag on the front of his face, waddling around on the couch, and then he fell off of it. And I'm like, I shouldn't be laughing at should not be laughing at that. That is not funny. But it's the most hilarious thing I'd seen all week. I literally burst out laughing and I thought, oh, bless him. All he wanted was some food. And then I thought, oh no, he probably hurt himself when he fell off. And then I'm like, oh, you should not have laughed at that. It is not funny. There's been a couple of TikToks I've laughed at recently. There's been quite a few things I've laughed at. I have this recently been watching TikTok and Instagram a bit more for a bit of me time, I guess. The odd 10-15 minute kind of scroll just to look at funny stuff. There's some funny cats on Instagram and TikTok I like to watch. There's some funny cows. There's some funny mini cows and Highland cows that I watch that just seem to get into trouble. There's some goats that I watch. There's a lot of things that I try and laugh at. I'm not like an overly laugh person. I'm not going to sit there and just like bawl my eyes out with laughter. But I will have the odd titter laugh sometimes, like the cat with his head in a crisp bag. We all laugh at different stuff. Some people never laugh. And the one thing I do find that laughter can be good medicine. If you're having a really bad time, scroll through TikTok, find a funny animal, find a funny video, find someone else having a badder time than you can sometimes make you laugh. Especially if it's funny, where you've like, there's a guy that's laid some concrete and you're like, oh, that looks really nice. And then you just get a cat just walk across the middle of the concrete. Or there's a seagull that just happens to land on it and puts his prints in it, and you're just sitting there going, and you're just laughing, and you're like, honestly, it's really not funny. The amount of work and time and effort that went into that concrete, and then you're like, but come on, that's funny, right? Walking his little footprints across it. Like, does he keep the footprints now? Is he going to have to smooth it over? He's probably going to smooth it over, and yeah, it's not as funny anymore, is it? Okay, so they were the questions today. So let me know your answers down below. What are the things that make you feel alive and happy? How have you been feeling lately about yourself? What are 3 things that brought you joy this week? What parts of you do you have a hard time accepting? And when was the last time you laughed the hardest? Let me know down below all the answers to these questions, as much or as little as you would like. If you'd like to help the channel out, you can thumbs it up and share it out. If you want to support the channel in any way, the best way to donate is through Super Chats, memberships, or PayPal. And if you want to follow me elsewhere, I'm on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So today has been day 19, or episode 19, of the It's Not All Doom and Gloom podcast. I am the Midnight Raven. I hope you had a wonderful Halloween, as this is going up a couple of days after. So I'm going to leave you to eat all that Halloween candy and try and avoid hearing Mariah Carey for at least a couple more weeks. And I will see you very soon for another episode of the podcast. I will get to another episode before the end of the year. And I will see you very soon. I love you all. Bye, guys.